Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the venues. We're so glad you're here today. My name's Kim Deal, and I serve as a volunteer leader for our social response efforts. And whether you're here in person or online, we're so glad you're here with us today. First off, we're going to start off with some safety instructions. We want you to feel safe while you're here at the venues. So we continue to follow health guidelines where we're going to social distance. And so if you want to talk to your friends after service, we encourage you to do that outside and separated as appropriate. So coming up, and Joey will give us some safety instructions as we dismiss too. So our next announcement is recess. Recess is coming up this coming Friday. I believe it's the 8th. And if you don't know what recess is all about, we provide a respite night for family members with those with children with special needs. We provide care for the kiddos and their siblings from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. on Friday evening. No special training involved. We will train you if you'd like to come and participate with that. We'll feed you dinner and get you all trained up and get you with a buddy. If you want to feel satisfaction from helping a family, a well-deserved break, a lot of these families don't get any breaks at all, not even to go to the grocery store. So this is a great respite time for them. So if you'd like to participate in that, learn more at thevenues.org/recess to get signed up. Next, our next announcement is Harvest Fest. Make sure you mark your calendars for Sunday, the 17th from 3 to 5 p.m. We're going to go out to Rutledge Wilson Farm. It's always a fun time. We're going to roast marshmallows and hot dogs, and there'll be lots of games for the kiddos. So if you want to meet some more of your venues families and hang around and enjoy the fall weather, come out to Harvest Fest. And then our next announcement is about baptism. On Sunday the 24th, Philip will be performing a baptism right here during service. We celebrate different methods of baptism, and this will be a pour-over baptism right here on stage. So if you're ready for a public demonstration of your desired identity with Jesus, his life, his values, his way, then sign up with the website right there on the screen behind me at venues.org/baptism. And then if you'd like to connect with us, we have lots of different ways to connect. You can fill out a form on the Welcome Center, on the Church Center app. You can fill out prayer requests in all kinds of different ways through that QR code there in front of you. And I so apologize, Joey, I missed a step. Come out this Thursday to the venues at 425. We're having a great time. We're starting Rocktober, and of course, Joey and friends will be there to entertain us all. It will be an evening of all music. So come out and hang out with your venues friends, have a snack, have a drink, and maybe we'll even dance, Joey. What do you think? All right. And last but not least, we did talk about connecting. Again, I apologize, I'm a little today. That QR code in the seat back in front of you, you can connect to all the different ways to be involved with the venues. And then, of course, if you like what we're doing here at the venues, all the great outreach programs we're doing and supporting areas throughout the community, you can give thevenues.org/give, or there are little drop boxes at the entry doors, and you can do that online. And thank you so much for being here and supporting the venues.
Thank you, Kim. If you guys would, please stand with us. We're going to sing a few songs together. We're so glad that you've joined us this morning. Feel free to join in singing. You've been walking the same old road for miles and miles. If you've been hearing the same old voice tell the same old lies. If you're trying to fill the same old holes inside, there's a better life. There's a better life. If you got pain, he's a pain taker. If you feel lost, he's a way maker. got chains. He's a chain breaker. We've all searched through the light of day in the dead of night. We've all found ourselves worn out from the same fight. We've all run to things we know just ain't right. There's a better life. There's a better life. If you got pain, he's a pain taker. If you feel lost, he's a way maker. If you need freedom or saving, he's a prison shaking savior. If you got chains, he's a chain breaker. If you believe it, if you receive it, if you can't feel it, somebody testify. If you believe it, if you receive it, if you can't feel it, somebody testify, testify. If you believe it, if you receive it, if you can't feel it, somebody testify. If you got pain, he's a pain taker. If you feel lost, he's a way maker. If you need freedom or savior, he's a prison shaking savior. If you got chains, he's a chain breaker. If you got pain, he's a pain taker. If you feel lost, he's a way maker. If you need freedom or savior, he's a prison shaking savior. If you got chains, he's a chain breaker. If you need freedom or savior, he's a prison shaking savior. If you got chains, he's a chain breaker. You'll find me with the broken and the weak, in the spaces in between. You'll hear my voice cry out with those who weep, only if you're listening. Whatever you do for the least of these, you do it unto me. You'll find me with the ones without a voice, the forgotten and ignored. My blessing is on those who love the Lord. Will you open up the door? Whatever you do for the least of these, you do it unto me. Whatever you do for the least of these, you do it unto me. Hallelujah, hallelujah. He is among us. He is among us. Hallelujah, hallelujah. He is among us. He is among us. Hallelujah, hallelujah. He is among us. He is among us. Hallelujah, hallelujah. He is among us. He is among us. By this the world will know the Father's love. We will know the Father's love. Thanks for singing along. You guys can have a seat.
At the very same time said to each other at the very same time after this song, that is so good. That is so good. Thank you all for doing that. Hey, today's a special day. You know, whenever y'all come, I always see Barbie Pohl at the beginning of the service, but I never see her during the service. I have no idea where she goes. I think she's at the coffee shop somewhere. So wherever she is, we're going to celebrate her today because this is her birthday. So
You want to sing?
I know my boundaries.
You were going to lead it?
I will not lead it.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm going to start it because I forget the words. Happy birthday to you.
Happy
birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Marty. Happy birthday to you.
Yay, give a round of applause. 30 years old today. You can leave the gifts at the table. Thank you, Barbie, for being born. Yeah. All right, today we're going to enjoy a little bit of review of what happened last Sunday at Venues Palooza. People have all kinds of different ideas of what it means to be spiritual. James, the brother of Jesus, wrote a letter we have in our New Testament. He puts being spiritual in terms of serving others. These are his words. Religion that God our Father accepts as pure and faultless is this: to look after, and then he names people in his day who were needing to be looked after, orphans and widows, that's still true today, and to keep oneself from being polluted by the values of the world. The Venues is involved in looking after people and in serving people every day of the week. Yet once a year, hi, wherever that came from, that is the sweetest voice. That was Ari. Hi, Ari. The Venues is involved every day in service throughout our community. But it is such a value to us that we dedicate one Sunday morning a year away from the building into the community to serve. And we captured a little bit of that on film. And here's a review of what we did last week. Yeah, you all deserve that applause for sure. In our prayer time today, I want to give a special honor to what happens tomorrow. Tomorrow is the feast of St. Francis. And to honor St. Francis, whose focus was so much on nature and animals, his affinity with nature and animals is an inspiration to me, and I think it is probably to you too. St. Francis saw every creature as a unique expression of God. Each creature and each creation with its very own message for all of us. So that is our prayer. Father, as you loved peace and creation, help all people to protect and to safeguard all of life and our sacred earth and environment. Help all of us to always stand for love, life, and creation. In the name of God all over this universe, amen. To introduce our song this morning, I want us to go back to that James passage at the end where James said that true religion is to keep ourselves unpolluted from the values of the world. And so we're talking about a little bit of mind pollution today. Pollution in the water, pollution in the mind. And the band is going to play a song called Poisoned in the Water. After this song, our students can, if you want to, leave. It always hurts my feelings when you do that, but that's all right. But no, you'll have a great time with Chris. I so encourage you, if you haven't yet done so, to go and be involved in that student ministry. And it'll be very rewarding. Poison in the Water, honestly, I have no idea what this song means. I just liked the title because it fit the teaching. And the melody is so haunting, and it just drew me in. And I am so anxious for you to hear how this great band of ours, which is good every Sunday, presents this really meaningful song. So you just take it, whatever meaning your spirit gives you to it, it to you, and we'll worship that way.
Poison in the water, danger in the well. Do not wander, shepherd's daughter. Poison in the water, serpent in the garden. Guard the citadel. Fruit is rotten, move with caution. Venom on the tongue. There is a Judas among us. There is a Judas among us. Nobody here we can trust. There is a Judas among us. Poison in the water, danger in the well. Do not wander, shepherd's daughter. Poison in the water, blood on the horizon, blood along the tracks. Shadows rising, organizing, marching in the night. There is a Judas among us. There is a Judas among us. Nobody here we can trust. There is a Judas among us. Poison in the water. Careful, shepherd's daughter. Lead the lamb to slaughter. Poison in the water. Poison in the water. Danger in the well. Do not want a shepherd's daughter. Poison in the water. Poison in the water. Danger in the well. Do not want a shepherd's daughter. Poison in the water. There is a Judas among us. There is a Judas among us. Nobody here we can trust. There is a Judas among us. Poison in the water. Careful, shepherd's daughter. Lead the lamb to slaughter. Poison in the water.
Yeah, that is just really good. I do kind of think I know what the writers, it's a sister duo that did this song, or maybe a three-member family, but I think they were telling us to be very careful what we hear and what we listen to and what we believe. That's pretty good stuff, isn't it? Yeah, there could be poison in that water. Yeah. Okay, I am on the wrong page there. I was about to preach a sermon from 4 weeks ago. I think it was Devin's sermon, probably better. All right, this is an attorney by the name of Robert Bilott. He's a defense attorney who worked for an environmental team for a Cincinnati law firm. He spent most of his days defending companies like DuPont until 1998, when a farmer from his dad's hometown told him about a huge number of his cattle that were dying in just horrific ways, foaming at the mouth, covered with all kinds of lesions. And when Balot, the attorney, looked into this matter, he uncovered clear evidence that a chemical factory owned by DuPont, run by DuPont, was knowingly dumping toxic waste into that town's water supply. The plant was 35 times bigger than the Pentagon. Balot took the case, and he proved a decades-old scheme by DuPont of pollution. It not only resulted in the death of thousands of cattle, but cancers in humans, immune issues in humans, birth defects. The story was told by the New York Times, and it was made into a movie starring Mark Ruffalo called Dark Waters. So water can be poisoned. Be careful. Our minds can be poisoned. Be careful. Luke tells the story of Paul and Barnabas in an area in what today is Turkey. He says this, at Iconium, Paul and Barnabas went as usual into the Jewish synagogue. There they spoke so effectively that a great number of Jews and Greeks believed, but the Jews who refused to believe stirred up the other Gentiles, and here's the key for today, and poisoned their minds against the brothers. So in this story, people were the polluters. They poisoned people's minds. My question for all of us is, what poison has been put into our minds from other people? Oh, just for example, dwelling on the past, comparing yourself to others, worrying about something before it happens, thinking you can change others, thinking you're always right, depending on others for your happiness, thinking there's only one right or one wrong, the fear of never being good enough. This last one, the fear of never measuring up or being good enough, is the fear that Ted Lasso had. Ted Lasso has become my new Andy Griffith. I went through many years at another church I think we probably showed every Andy Griffith episode in sermons at that church. And the homespun wisdom of Ted Lasso speaks to me as well. And in this scene, he has been challenged to a game of darts by the ex-husband of the owner of the soccer team that Ted Lasso coaches, manages, whatever they call that in England. But it's a great lesson in this scene of a dart game. Take a look.
So Rupert, y'all take your darts over here pretty seriously, huh? This and what's the billiard game y'all do that sounds like a brand of cookies? Snooker? That's it. That's the one. Yeah, boy, I'd love to curl up on a couch under a weighted blanket, watch You've Got Mail, and devour a box of Snookers. See what we got here. Hey, there it is.
Do you like darts, Ted?
Oh, they're okay. I'm more of a cornhole man myself. Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. How about a game? I mean, we could maybe wager, say, £10,000?
Well, as my doctor told me when I got addicted to fettuccine Alfredo, that's a little rich for my blood. How about this? If you win, I'll let you pick the starting lineup of the last 2 games of the season. But if I win, you can't go anywhere near the owner's box, at least not while Becca's still in charge.
Ted, what the hell are you doing?
Well, I believe some folks call it white knighting, but I don't know. I'm just following my gut here. It's okay. No. What do you think?
You're on.
Okay.
Double in, double out.
Whatever you say, Rupert Dukes. Yeah. Just let me know if I'm winning or losing, all right?
Oh, I forgot I had these on me.
Oh, wait a second. I forgot I'm left-handed. Oh, it's gonna be a hoot. You know, Rupert, guys have underestimated me my entire life. And for years, I never understood why. It used to really bother me. But then one day, I was driving my little boy to school, and I saw this quote by Walt Whitman. It was painted on the wall there. It said, "Be curious, not judgmental." I like that. So I get back in my car, and I'm driving to work, and all of a sudden, it hits me. All them fellas that used to belittle me, not a single one of them were curious. You know, they thought they had everything all figured out, so they judged everything, and they judged everyone. And I realized that they're underestimating me. Who I was had nothing to do with it. Because if they were curious, they would ask questions. You know? Questions like, have you played a lot of darts, Ted? Which I would have answered, yes, sir. Every Sunday afternoon at a sports bar with my father from age 10 till I was 16 when he passed away. Barbecue sauce. Good game, Rupert.
I mean, I just watched that and cried. Of course, it doesn't take much for me to cry, you know that, but how many times have you been belittled, told that you don't measure up because somebody didn't take time to get to know you? How many times have I judged people because I didn't take time to get to know them? Be curious, not judgmental. Now, as you watch that clip, you forgot about all those important lessons. The only thing on your mind is, what in the world does barbecue sauce mean? Right before he threw that winning dart, he said barbecue sauce. Well, Jason explained it. Whether you're winning or losing, keep a positive mindset. Remember that dart's got to come from the heart. If you're about to take a winning shot, think of something that makes you smile. Mine is good old barbecue sauce. There you go. Whatever makes you smile. Well, how can we clean our minds from all those painful messages and that poison that somebody has put into our minds about ourselves? You can train your brain. The Bible calls it one thing: transformation, renewal. Science calls it neuroplasticity. The human brain has about 86 billion neurons. I don't think I have that many. And the researchers used to think that those neurons quit being created shortly after birth. They just kind of stopped. But new research, and I love research, new research shows that our brain can continue to construct roadways, and it can create new connections and even create brand new neurons. And science calls that neuroplasticity, and spirituality calls it transformation, renewal, enlightenment. In the Buddhist world, it's called Bianhua. Paul writes this: do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And when I was a kid growing up in the Southern Baptist world, this verse was used, as most every verse was used when I was in youth group, to deter us from sex, drugs, and rock and roll. It's amazing how every youth director could turn every verse into keeping us from doing those things. The trinity of evil. And that's why I love sex, drugs, and rock and roll today. See, that's why we send the students out. Yeah. Yeah, and it's not that at all. Let's break this down just a little bit today. That word translated conform is the Greek word schema. It literally means your outward form. And the truth of the matter is, my schema at 65 is not at all like my schema was at 25. It is changing. Every time I look into the mirror, I'm absolutely in a state of shock. Now, some people age really well. Meryl Streep and Raiders, what's his name? Harrison. I forget these people. See, I'm so old. Clint and Bill Murray, thank you. I don't age well. I'm not aging like wine. I'm aging like milk, getting sour and chunky. Yeah. Our schema is always changing. Fashions are always changing. What was popular in the 70s when I was in high school is surprisingly popular again today, I've noticed. So they change and then they come back. Somebody said that fashion comes and goes, bad taste is timeless. So we have used this verse, or I have used this verse, and I hope you have too. It'll make me feel better if I'm not the only one, to judge people that we think are worldly. To judge people who believe differently than I, who have different values than I, who are acting in a worldly way, because that's what we're supposed to do, isn't it? Aren't we supposed to judge people? Aren't we supposed to point out their sins and the error of their ways, just to help them? Maybe not. Conformity is a real issue with Paul, where we don't challenge our paradigms, where we don't question what we've been taught, where we don't question the philosophies that are out there, and maybe that's the poison in the water. Be careful what you read, be careful what you listen to. I heard on the news this morning as Denise and I were getting dressed that 1/3 of Americans get their news from Facebook. Poison in the water. Yeah. Except random thoughts from the Rev that you will find on Facebook. Yeah. Transformation does not come by conforming behavior. It comes from asking the question, why? Why did I believe what I believed? And then inviting transformation. So, just to make clear, the ways of the world are not sex, drugs, and rock and roll. It's true that there are some behaviors that are unhealthy and destructive, and we don't need to do them. But it's such a superficial thing. What Paul is talking about is our conformity to the way we see the world, the way we see God, the way we see ourselves, the way we see other people. The ways of the world are not these superficial actions. He's not telling us to not conform our actions, but to conform not to conform the way we think. The ways of let me go back to this verse just for a minute. I think it's so interesting. That word translated world, I don't know why the translators do this, but the Greek word is not world at all. The Greek word is ainos, which is the word for a particular period of time, an age. It's not the world at all. And so Paul is saying every age has certain values, every age has certain styles, I guess. Don't conform yourself to that age in which you live. Don't let how everybody else is valuing things shape you. I'm not sure why they use the word world. That's free right there. Let's go back. I think what Paul is really saying is some of the ways of the age that I see are hate and isolation, greed, a sense of separateness. It's my job as a spiritual leader Not to tell you that you're separated from God, but tell you that you feel separated from God, but you're not. That God is in you and you are connected, and to awaken yourself and be aware of that connection. I think the spirit of our age is certainty. I'm right. And that goes along with pride and violence and fear and anger. So I have to ask myself the question, and maybe you do too, is there conformity in your life that you need to question to any of these things? Is there a transformation that needs to be made? So ask the question, be open to the divine, let God bring about within you the best that you can be. Let's go on and look at this verse a little bit more. He uses this word transform, and it's that great word that we talk about when we were kids with a butterfly coming from a caterpillar, metamorphosis. You see, within that caterpillar is the nature of a butterfly, and the process of metamorphosis is a process of the inner identity being expressed outwardly. That's metamorpho. Now, meta means to change after you're being with someone or something. Some experience or some person changes you. You're changed after. And the morpho means to change your form on the outside that keeps with what's true on the inside. Caterpillar to butterfly. Change after being with. Have you been changed in a particular way after an experience, after being with an experience or being with a person? We were all changed, I think, and maybe still are being changed because of COVID, the lockdown of COVID. One thing that changed me in the lockdown of COVID is I began to see the value of a slower pace of life, and I just really haven't sped back up all the way yet. Maybe I'm not going to. I think I'll just stay slow. Well, I haven't done very well with that, have I? Had 2 weddings yesterday. I'm exhausted today. Ceremony was short, but the parties afterwards were really long. So, you know, when I was at Fellowship Bible, and I don't know why, but people who were into and involved with and just loved by AA began to come to Fellowship. And I had such preconceived ideas toward alcoholism and that kind of thing. You know, we were taught that it was a sin. And so I was very judgmental toward alcoholics and people who struggled with that. And I changed around 2000 when I began to listen to stories from people who had started coming to Fellowship, who were involved in AA. Changed my life. And that led me to 2008, when I began to listen to the stories of people who were LGBTQ, because I had really judged them. And listening to the stories for 6 months to a year, it changed me. After being with them, I was transformed in a good way. Being diagnosed with COPD changed me. I began to appreciate things I used to take for granted, like breathing. And you'll notice that I really have a hard time talking even today. The way to live a transformed life is by being with someone or having an experience. We are changed after being with. And what that means for me spiritually in my world is what Paul writes about it to the Corinthians. Now, the Lord is the Spirit, and where the Spirit of the Lord is, there's freedom. And we all, who with unveiled faces contemplate the Lord's glory. And when we contemplate, and that word contemplate means to see. When we see the Lord's glory, we are being transformed, metamorpho, into His image with ever-increasing glory, which comes from the Lord, who is the Spirit. So this word to contemplate, to see, means to see it and show it, gaze at it and reflect it. So transformation comes from seeing. We're not transformed, we're not changed by learning, but by looking. Now, I love to learn, and learning's good, but that's not the key to transformation. We're not transformed by doing something. Now, doing is great. Serving, we just talked about, that's true spirituality. But the transformation, the action, follows the transformation. We see and we show it. Moses, what a great story that the Hebrew people give us about Moses. On the Mount Sinai, he saw God and it changed him. His face glowed with the glory of God. He wasn't even aware of it. But when he got down to the base of the mountain, people saw it. He saw God and it changed him. That's the method. That's the process. Transformation comes from contemplation. The word translated contemplate was used in Paul's day to describe a mirror. When you look at a mirror, you see yourself. And what a shock that is. So what I want to just propose, and it may not be right, but I'm trying to understand it. When I look in the mirror and I see myself, I wonder if Paul is saying when you look in the mirror, what you will see is God. Not that I'm God at all, but when you look in the mirror, you see God in you. And when you see the presence of God in you, then you begin to reflect that presence in your practice, in your persona. And the glowing of our face, I think, is described by Paul in Galatians, where he says, the fruit of the Spirit is this: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Maybe those things come only after we see God. So what does it mean to contemplate and to see God? I was taught that prayer basically is asking things from God or telling God things. And Jesus kind of says that's not really necessary. In Matthew chapter 6, he says, God already knows it. You don't need to tell him what's going on. We probably need to hear us say it. But maybe this is what contemplation is not so much asking things from God, although that's a legitimate part of prayer. But maybe if I focus too much on that, I forget the bigger picture, that prayer is basically being silent before God and to remove the thoughts from my mind and to allow God in my silence, to allow love in my silence to be shown to me, to speak to me. And I see that love in my silence. And I also see some crap in my life in that silence. But I see that crap being unconditionally loved because it's me that God loves, even with my stuff. And out of that love, maybe I can do these Joy, peace, patience stuff. So we reflect what we see. My dad used to always say, you become like that to which you pay attention. He was always telling me that, so I wouldn't hang around people that he didn't want me to hang around. But I think I want to take that to a newer dimension. I become like that to which I pay attention. And if I pay attention, especially in contemplation to God, I think I'll be transformed into that image. How do I do that? Whitney is a whiz on our staff with social media, and I sent her this link to Thomas Keating's method of centering prayer, and she created this, whatever that art is at the lower corner, and I guess you can scan that. Can you scan it right now? If you did your camera, would that work? I didn't even try that. How do I do that, Whitney? Do I just take a picture of it? I've never scanned anything in my life. Open in Safari. It just worked, okay? This 65-year-old is learning. So right there, I've got the method of centering prayer. Would you do that? And just try it. Practice it. See what happens. All right. Hey, we got 3 minutes. Anybody have a question? Come on up. And he said, we got 3 minutes. We'll do it fast. How are you? I'm glad to see you. Thanks for living with me.
Yeah, you are my meta.
Oh, my
You
gosh.
have changed me.
We've
for
changed.
Sure. Well,
Any
we got
questions
happy
on there, Miss
birthday,
Barbie? We don't have a lot of time. I talked too long again. Happy birthday, yeah.
Yeah, happy birthday. So no questions.
Oh, good. Let's go home.
Well,
Let's see if the Chiefs can win today. Are we looking? Am I talking about looking inside yourself? Yes. Oh, you're up there. Okay. I think that is one good way. Is it looking within yourself to see God? Yes. But it's also kind of like what I'm learning from St. Francis, whom we're honoring tomorrow. St. Francis was able to see God in all things, as Paul writes to the Ephesians, that God is in all. And so I could even see God in Skittles, our little dog. And I could see God in a spider. Denise can't see God in a spider. It's nothing but the devil. But you can see God and I can even see God in John Apple. It's right there. That's not hard to do at all. But yes, you are exactly right, that God in us, and when we look at that mirror, I think it reflects. Are you telling me you got off the stage, Barbie?
no, I messed up the computer.
Oh, you messed up the computer. Well, welcome to my world. Thank you for that, whoever said
We did not have a question
that.
on here, though. but
Okay.
I don't know what I did.
Well, Joey, we got a minute then. If we don't have any more questions, tell us how to leave. We'll be out of here by 10:30.
Thanks you all for coming. It really is good to see new faces today, and thanks for those that participated in Venues Palooza.
Yes.
Y'all are a good church. We sure love you all.
Okay. Thank you, Philip. Thank you, Denise. We want to thank everyone for watching who's watching online. We're going to say goodbye to you at this time, so bye, online people. For the rest of us...